This weekend I went to the Mountain Thunder Methven street race and also saw some really rare bikes, such as this 6-cylinder Honda CBX and this rotary engine by Suzuki, which I've always wanted to see. The trip was fun, typical rural New Zealand, lots of sheep on the road blockages and so forth. It's a common sight here in New Zealand, with, cattle going from one field to another. Anyway, we took the back roads to Methven, a couple of mates of mine, and we went through this gorge here, which is an amazing river, which is fed by glaciers from the Southern Alps, so it's got that beautiful sort of tingy blue, and we're up in the clouds here, which is quite a nice morning actually. It was probably about 11 degrees, but getting colder as we go into autumn. Here's a one-lane bridge, one of many in New Zealand. We decided to go along, and as we were riding along, quite a few people joined us from behind, as there was quite a lot of motorcycle fanatic fans like myself and my mates all going along. This road here is pretty straight, so I thought I'd fast forward it. Anyway, Methven is a small town which has sort of got a bit of a tourism industry during the winter, where Mount Hutt, which is one of the main skiing fields, is quite close by, so it's a place to stay and get all your ski hireage and all that stuff. But in the summer, it's quite a town until the Mountain Thunder hits the town. Lots of rare bikes and lots of sort of common classics as well. Here's a Motor Guzzi and a sidecar. It's one of my favourites. We'll see that a bit later. This is a nice little Kawasaki 2-stroke. And Velocets as well. Beautiful bikes. And they sound awesome as well. And a Norton as well. I think this is a single cylinder, not too sure. This is a 2-cylinder. And an Indian. This one's owned by a distant relative of Burt Munro, Lee Munro, who I believe is one of his nephews, or great nephews. Here's a Norton Commando getting started up. Not so keen on the exhaust, looks like a big flask for coffee on this little back, but it's nice sounding. Not too sure what the single is, in fact it's a twin. Little set's getting started up. It's great here in New Zealand with street racing still around. Health and safety will one day probably stop this, but here you're allowed to get into the pits and right up close to the action. There was only 1 or 2 accidents today, no fatalities, thank goodness, but it can be quite a dangerous sport, especially when you've got lampposts right close next to the track. No run-off zones. These were the smaller class bikes. I think they were bucket racers. And then, coming up there's a bike which overshot the corner. This is the one. So these are the Super Motards. Here's an R1, probably the fastest bike on the track today, completely lapping the whole rest of the contenders of that race. Here's the sidecars. Only 3, and later on only the 2 were racing. That's the Motor Guzzi. I think this is the Triumph. And this is some Jap 4-cylinder engine. Here's some oversized rocket Triumphs with small riders on board, or is it just because the bikes are so big it makes the riders look small? At first I thought these were the Hog Boss. So this is the start line down the straight.
Machine, that's a 372 Junior, full price, Liz Alcock.
The event was actually quiet. Unfortunately, the press, our local paper, had put the wrong day in for the event, and it said that it was going to be on Easter Sunday, when in fact this was Saturday. So a lot of people probably missed this, unfortunately. The organisers were spewing. So it was a lot quieter than in previous years. It's probably been about 2 or 3 years since I last attended this. It was really quiet actually, which was good because you got up close to the action. Hyper Motards. I just love the way they put their legs down when they go in the corners. It's so dangerous, but I'm sure that's the best way to get around the corner if you're high up. But they were certainly the kings of this track, being such a short track. Most of these bikes were doing it in around about 39 seconds the whole track. Not too sure how many Ks or how many meters the whole track is, but it's quite a small track. And this is where the bikes exit the pits into the track. It's the R1 again. It's just amazing. With this Mountain Thunder race, you've got so many bikes, just an assortment of bikes from your 125s straight up to your R1s, and then your V-twins and your classics, and bikes that are over 60 years old, and bikes that are only 6 months old. This one has a little crash later on, not because of the smoke, being a two-stroke, but it's just around the corner from where we were filming this. And this is the crash. I think he just overcooked the corner and slid off his bike, but he probably hit some bin that was left out as well. It looked like it was. He was okay, he was walking into the ambulance, but it could have been worse. This is the Triumph sidecar, and then followed by the Guzzi. Now this, the guy would have cooked his elbows, being so close to that. Really impressive. And here's that R1. A few bucket races, level bikes. I mean, the best thing about this day was actually being in the pits, smelling the castor oil and all the fumes, and the two-stroke oil, and also just seeing people tinkering with their bikes. Here's that Guzzi again. See, when he's riding this bike, he's literally leaning over those cylinders, burning himself. So you wouldn't want to ride that for a long endurance race. Here's the straight. It was really good because we hung out at the end of the straight. You could see the bikes braking hard. A lot of these bikes have just got drum brakes, so you have to brake early on. Also, you can see marked on the road in pink as the bits for the bikers to watch out for, little drain covers and little bumps and stuff, but still there's a lot of bumps being a normal road street track. It's not as luxurious as your racing track, which has all been wound out. Here goes at R1 again. It was just insanely quick down the straight. All of 200 metres. And this yellow bike was amazingly fast. That off-road bike kept up with all these other bikes. And here I just stuck the GoPro right by the track, hoping it wouldn't get sucked in. So these were sort of smaller capacity bikes, but still bloody quick. Last sort of race for the sidecars, doing a bit of a demo race because the third one was out, but still came in it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Great day, as always.
Anyway, here we look at all the bikes, the bike car park. Motor Guzzi, BMWs, Guzzies, all sorts. And we see some rarities.
Oh yeah.
Mine does that as well when you click it right round.
Oh. Bike porn, eh? Very sexy.
Now CBX,
I think he's polished it better than
six-cylinder bike from the
CBS.
70s. Something I've always looked in books about. Just the exhaust pipes, 6 cylinders. It's just insane. Would have loved to see this start up. And then we saw the Suzuki rotary engine bike, something I've looked up in the past. It's got a little dashboard which flicks open like a little cylinder drum, but to actually see in the flesh was just amazing. And the exhausts have got weird sort of nacelle, Star Trek-y looking bits at the front.
So this little bit flips back when you start it usually. And... No, never have I.
Pure bike orgasms right now watching this. Yeah.
Where is it? Yeah.
It's just insane what the marketing people at Honda came up with, and Suzuki.
That would be impossible. Sheesh.
So it's probably wider than my engine as well. And the V8 trike, not so keen on those, but Kiwis seem to like the trikes here. Back to those glory bikes. Anyway, fist punch. It was a great day. Some great mates. It was a great ride. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe and comment. Really appreciate that. I like making these videos and I really enjoy reading your comments too. Okay, next time. Cheers.